time.
Yep.
Are we good to go? Good.
Well, it'll be about a...
We'll just wait for
There
Phil.
it is. There it is.
Phil gave it a thumbs up. All right.
6,000.
He wants to pull your claims.
Good evening and welcome to the Bellevue City Council meeting for Monday, June 11th, 2016. Before we officially start our meeting, I'd like to just announce that our tornado shelter is right through these doors across the hall. So please feel free to go there if the sirens go off or you feel you need to. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could please stand, and please remain standing for the invocation by Pastor David Leidick, Midlands Bible Baptist Church, 2407 Chandler Road East. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you again, Madam Mayor, for this privilege, and I commend and thank you all for maintaining this practice. It is important. Let's pray. Father, we do rejoice at the opportunity we have to approach you and seek your wisdom and your help. And Lord, I pray that would certainly be the case here tonight. We thank you for our country. Thank you for the manner in which our founders established it, Lord, that it would be citizen government. And Lord, I pray that certainly here tonight, you'd be protecting us, Lord, from the seriousness of the storm, while at the same time, Lord, you'd be in control of everything that's said and done here tonight. I pray you give our mayor and each of our council members wisdom and understanding, even beyond their own, Lord. It would be a gift from you. You would give them the real discernment and decisions that they have to make. And Lord, that it would all be good for our community, obviously, but certainly, Lord, that it would be that which would honor and glorify you. And we'll praise you and thank you for it all now because we ask it in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen.
God bless you.
Thank you, Pastor Leidick. Item 3, Sabrina, please call roll.
Mr. Hanson?
Here.
Mr. Cook?
Here.
Mr. Shannon?
Here.
Mr. Preister?
Here.
Mr. Burns?
Here.
Mr. Modry?
Here.
Thank you. Item number 4, this meeting will be conducted according to the Open Meetings Act, which is posted in the entry to the council chamber. Item 5, approval of agenda, consent agenda, minutes, and advisory committee reports.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Item 5A is approval of the agenda.
We have a motion by Mr. Shannon.
Second.
Second by Mr. Modry. Discussion, questions? See none, please vote.
Blame it on the storm tonight.
Mr. Cook, are you logged in?
I just voted.
It says you're not currently in this meeting.
June 11, 2018, 6 o'clock.
But are you logged in as you?
Yeah, that's where I was last time.
Okay.
He's on here.
Well, that's what it said though. Okay. Well,
He's
okay. It must have gone. I'm getting nothing. Where did you put it though? Oh, there it is. Okay, all voted yes.
Thank you.
Item 5B2, or 5B is the approval of the consent agenda. The following items are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. Unless a city council member or the mayor requests an item be removed from the consent agenda, in which case it'll be placed in its normal sequence on the agenda. Item 5B1 is approval of the minutes of the May 29, 2018 City Council meeting. Item 5B2, acknowledge the receipt of the minutes from the May 24, 2018 meeting of the Planning Commission. Item 5B3 is approval of claims. Council members and mayor, are there any of these items you'd have removed from consent consideration?
Mr. Cook.
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hanson. Discussion, questions? See none, please vote.
I don't think you're on the right thing. Because it's not coming up on mine. That's why I'm saying you're not on the right thing. Where? I was up there already.
That's where I was.
Well, you need to move. You need to save it. That's why. I don't know where it is. It's not something you did.
No, it's not. It's just not like,
No.
it's not even showing up on mine. There it came, it just came.
Where at?
I don't know, mine just popped up.
Well, that's under this one. Okay, I think that's it. So, all voted yes.
Thank you.
It's not supposed to be.
Item 6, special presentation, none. 7, liquor license, none. 8, ordinance for adoption, third reading.
Item 8A is ordinance number 3905 regarding the sale of city surplus property just south of 1311 Bluff Street. The title of the ordinance is an ordinance providing for the sale of certain real estate, same being described in section 1 of this ordinance, directing the conveyance of such real estate and the manner and terms thereof, and designating an effective date.
Mr. Shannon.
I move to approve ordinance 3905.
Second.
Second by Mr. Preister. Discussion, questions? Mr. Preister.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a comment for those who may have been following this sale. OPPD is still using that old power line, so it's in existence, and they may update it or do something with it in the future. But at this point, we know that, so whatever we may choose to do as a result of that, OPPD did respond to us and did tell us that, so.
Thank you. Mr. Shannon.
Yeah, so we're clear to proceed with the sale. The lien will just stay in place for OPPD, or the easement, rather.
Yes, that's accurate. We've
Okay.
followed all procedures, and it does comply. So we
Okay.
as a city are covered.
Thank you.
Motion and a second and discussion. Please vote. Or did we? It's the third reading.
Yes, you're right.
Mr. Cook.
Do we have a motion?
Yes.
We had a motion and a second.
Okay.
Motion by Mr. Shannon, second by Mr. Preister.
My fault. I was on the wrong one.
Reopening and voting.
We're waiting for Mr. Hanson.
Did vote. Do it again. It's fun.
He's clicking on it.
There it goes.
There it came.
Oops.
I think we're getting interference.
See, now I can't move up.
Oh, it's not coming in here, so.
We must have a big lag or something going on.
It's right there.
So I can't get my screen to move up.
Our screens are popping in and out.
Well, I'm trying to get it to move up, and all I can see it says motion carried. So
Thank you. Item 9, ordinance for public hearing, second reading, none. Item 10, ordinance for introduction, first reading.
Item 10A is ordinance number 3907, rezoning lot 33B1, Pleasant Hill or Martins subdivision from RS 72 to RE. The applicant is Michael Bell Castro. Location is 8006 South 25th Street. The title of the ordinance is an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the city of Bellevue, Nebraska, as provided for by Article 3 of Ordinance Number 3619 by changing the zone classification of land located at or about 8006 South 25th Street, more particularly described in Section 1 of this ordinance, and to provide an effective date. This item will have a public hearing at the next council meeting.
which will be the next council meeting. Second reading and public hearing will be June 25th. Mr. Shannon.
Just a brief comment on this item. If you go to page 11 of the packet on this item, it says that we have an existing 1,200 square foot building, and then it shows a drawing of it. It's 45 by 30. And a quick check of math would say 45 times 30 is not 1,200 square feet. And we're going to add a 45 by 30 building to it and end up with 2,400 square feet. All of the numbers in this item are wrong. We've got 1,350 square feet existing. We're going to add 1,350. We're going to wind up with 2,700. If someone could go through this item and bring it to the public hearing corrected, that would probably be advised.
Duly noted. Thank you. Item 11, public hearing on matters other than ordinance, none. Item 12, resolutions.
Item 12A is resolution number 2018-14, giving notice to the property owners at 408 Sullivan Circle to construct the sidewalk driveway approach repairs according to the city code for sidewalk construction.
Mr. Preister.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll move to approve resolution number 2018-14.
Second.
Second by Mr. Burns. Discussion, questions? Mr. Shannon.
I don't understand why the city code is making the city ask us before we send a letter out. Is that something we need to look at maybe in the future?
Mr. Roberts, would you like to answer that?
They've actually received 2 certified letters. One was about a year ago, which they had picked up from the post office. They received another one a few months later, which they refused to pick, or they didn't pick up. I don't know if they refused or not, but they didn't pick it up. Came back unopened or unclaimed. And so now we're moving on the next step to get this approved to have them repair their sidewalk and driveway.
And I did want to commend you for preparing a proper evidentiary package for us this time and showing all of those things, because I was able to read that in the packet, and that's greatly appreciated. So I just don't understand why the city code's making the city employees ask before they send the 3rd certified letter out and we start taking action. So I just think maybe that's something we could streamline in the future.
This action is there so that the owner receives notice that the city council did approve this requirement for the approach, and that if they do not undertake the repairs, then the city will do it and assess them.
Okay. So this is like a show cause.
Pretty much.
All right. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? See none, please vote.
I still can't move it. All voted yes.
Thank you. Item 13, current business.
Item 13A is approval for the mayor to sign the 2018 Kawasaki User Relations Loan Agreement form for 2 side-by-side utility vehicles to be used by the police and the fire departments.
Mr. Cook.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll make a motion that we approve for the mayor to sign this agreement.
Second.
Second by Mr. Modry. Discussion, questions? Mr. Shannon.
This is one of these really good items that we need to pause and highlight for everybody. We've got Kawasaki standing up and providing, Kawasaki and Dillon Brothers Motorsports standing up and providing 2 free vehicles for 11 months for the city, for the police and for the fire department. And I think they're to be commended. And maybe we should even send them a letter of some sort, you know, expressing our appreciation for them doing that. That's a great benefit to the citizens of Bellevue, and they're to be commended for doing this for Bellevue.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? See none, please vote.
I saw it and it was gone.
Sabrina, my laptop here is indicating for 13B that the vote's already been taken. Did we jump ahead?
We
Did
voted.
you click on the wrong one?
13A.
I know, but mine is
It
showing.
shows you
Click
13.
on
Mine is showing
I
on
know, click on
13B.
13B.
Seems to be slow getting
Yeah,
to her.
just put on the wrong one. All voted yes.
Thank you. 13B.
Item 13B is the approval of the renewal of the UNMC BMC Training Affiliation Agreement.
Mr. Shannon.
Been flippity-flopped.
Prior to the meeting, everyone was handed out a business associate agreement. That's going to be incorporated into my motion for this item. So I'll make a motion that we approve item 13B for the mayor to sign the renewal of the UNMC BMC Training Affiliate Agreement and the business associate agreement that's been passed out here tonight, both, because they're both required elements of this agreement.
Second.
Second by Mr. Modry. Mr. Buckley.
Yeah, I just want to explain the business associate agreement is required to protect any private health information that may be exchanged between the entities, the fire department and UNMC physicians. So that's why you're being asked to approve the BA agreement as well.
Any further discussion or questions? See none, please vote.
Cancel out. Do you think well, it's gonna, because I'm looking at it this way. Go back up to A. No, go back up to A. But it's on A. All voted yes.
Thank you. Item 14, administration report. Any comments or questions from the council? Mr. Shannon.
I'd just like to have a brief discussion about the sewer rate increase that Omaha's trying to oppose on everybody. And I think we need to have a little discussion about this so the citizens are aware of and can plan for, especially those people on fixed incomes, businesses that are using large amounts of water. These are going to be some pretty significant sewer rate increases.
That item is not on the agenda. It will be forthcoming, and we'll have a chance to discuss it at that time.
Can only be what's on the agenda, Mr. Shannon, in the
Okay, but
administration
aren't we in
report.
negotiations over these things? And it's in the newspapers already that we're going to have 5.25% increases year over year.
But if it's not on this agenda or included in the administration report on this item, then it can't be discussed
All right.
at this meeting.
Mr. Hanson, did you have a question? No. Are there any other questions? See none. Move on to item number 15, public requests to be heard. Any member of the public addressing the council shall abide by council policy resolution number 35 regarding the principles of conduct and decorum, which states any statement made during city council meetings by the mayor, members of the city council, city official, and employer, members of the general public shall not involve personal, impertinent, or slanderous attacks on individuals regardless of whether the individual so attacked is elected official, city official, or employer, member of the general public. And City Code Section 2-68 regarding the manners of addressing the council. Copies of the aforementioned rules are posted in the council chambers. Speakers shall limit their presentation to 5 minutes.
Good evening, Chuck Frederick, 1511 Madison Street. Seeing the meeting was so short, I was gonna ask for another 45 minutes to speak, but I guess I won't tonight. I talked about transparency before. I don't think our city has enough transparency. And certainly I've talked about this podium with the ledge that you can't see the people when you're sitting in the audience. Now, the people on TV don't know that, but if you come down here and sit here any place, you're blocking it. I was thinking about willing to pay to have somebody saw off this ledge, just this wooden part, and so we can see everybody. But I decided not to offer my money for that because of the way some of you guys spend our money, my tax dollars. I'm not happy with that. Example is that when you, I want to thank, example is when you passed the library study of $127,000, whatever it was at that point, the last meeting. I want to thank Mr. Shannon and Mr. Mudry for voting no on that. There was an article in the Bellevue Leader and the World Herald about this, but like I said before, this could be done on staff. We don't have to spend $127,000 to have, we could have the same thing we've done with the garbage people, have town hall meetings, have a survey sent out by our staff. That's what we have them for, and save a lot of money. So I'm really disappointed that you voted to have that study. I'm curious as to, I wouldn't mind seeing a list of all the studies we've done in the past 10 years and what has been the fruition of these studies. What has happened with these studies, how much we've spent, and what has happened because of these studies, because I don't believe in studies that much. We could get information from other libraries, cities, we could get information without having to have some professional get paid so much money for doing the same thing we could do ourselves. The one reason that I think that these other cities like Papillion can do such a good job is, I don't know if you saw this or not, but this is a Fun Lover's Guide for Downtown Papillion. That was, I think, in Sunday's paper. It's a beautiful piece of work, and it's advertising, and there's no reason why we couldn't have somebody do something like this here in Bellevue too. But if you haven't seen it, you might want to take a look at it. I'm sure you can pick a copy up. One of the reasons maybe Bellevue does, or Papillion does so much better, is because 2 or 3 years ago, they went from a contracted attorney to a full-time city attorney. And they saved themselves a lot of money. You can talk to Dave Black, I've talked to him, and we're spending money the way we shouldn't be spending money. All I can say is that we have to stop spending money foolishly in this city and start using it wisely. And I know you won't print my website, but people can look at it. It's chuckfrederick.com. And there'll be I have a lot to do on that. I'm a little slow getting stuff on sometimes, but chuckfrederick.com, and I think you should look at it at least until through the election time. Thank you very much.
Are there others? See none, move on to item 16, closed session, none. 17, adjournment. Mr. Shannon.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
A motion and a second by Mr. Preister. Please vote. And to everyone, drive home safely.
We've been going to a place, we went there again tonight to let my credit card there Saturday, a place called Craft Beer and Sliders. It's right on that corner right there.